Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. An old possibility that many fans have thought about and wondered about out in the community could be coming real, and slowly but surely might be getting revealed to be true, because in chapter 1059 of the One Piece manga, we got some information that really lends itself to this theory and it turning real. And what, you may ask, is this theory? Well, in today's video, we're going to talk about the possibility of Dracula Mihawk being the son of Silver's Rayleigh with Shakky. We're also going to talk about how this theory came about and what information has been revealed in this recent chapter that indicates this theory may come true in the future. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel, or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like, or even consider subscribing and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this or your favorite video with a friend. Without further ado, let's get into this video. So my friends, before we talk about this theory, first we're going to have to talk about the Kuja women, because through this important piece of information regarding this important tribe, we can proceed with this theory. The Kuja are a tribe of women warriors who live on the island of Amazon Lily, and are also referred to as Amazon women. Now, not only are they a tribe, but a crew of very strong and fearless women pirates, having a leader who is called the Empress. As the title implies, the Empress runs everything and rules over all in the Kuja tribe. But the Empresses could also contract a certain disease known as love sickness, which means the Empress falls in love with a man, but she keeps that love suppressed because of the rituals and customs and expectations of her tribe, which then often leads to them losing their lives. Until now, we only knew of two empresses who had ever contracted this disease, being Gloriosa, the oldest empress that we know so far, and also Boa Hancock, the current empress. From what we've learned, Gloriosa contracted this disease by some mysterious man, but after going into exile, she managed to survive, while Boa Hancock contracted it after falling in love with Luffy, but later she manages to get cured. However, we just learned of the existence of another empress who was possibly afflicted by this very same disease, causing her to abandon the Kuja tribe, or at least need to leave it and set sail on the ocean, even perhaps going as far as becoming a pirate. This woman was Boa Hancock's predecessor. However, we didn't know much about her, but with chapter 1059, we now have information that reveals this long-held secret and who this mysterious woman was. Now, the Kuja tribe has existed for many generations. Now, we don't know exactly how far back they go, or how many empresses may have existed over the hundreds if not thousands of years. However, so far, we know of the 3 generations of empresses that are still alive, and they still persist even after contracting this disease of love. The culture and beliefs of this amazing woman warrior society has remained virtually unchanged over the years, strictly following the laws of the ancient empresses. However, Boa Hancock was the first to possess a devil fruit, completely changing the way that she fought on the battlefield. And as mentioned before, although they are a tribe, the Amazon women are also a pirate crew, although they may not exactly act like pirates, as this vessel exists for the purpose of attacking other pirates or marine ships, or maybe just to obtain supplies from the outside world. And even if most everything can be grown on Amazon Lily, this would still allow the Amazons to go out and get food or even materials to improve their weapons, making them able to get stronger and stronger over time with new and improved weapons and combat tactics. So far in the work of One Piece, we've only been presented with 2 empresses of the Kuja tribe, Gloriosa being the former empress who abandoned the Amazon women and after a while returned, being in exile now, and then we've met Boa Hancock, the current leader. But before she became an empress, there was another woman in the position of empress who also ended up abandoning the Amazon women for some reason. But during chapter 1059, we have the revelation that this former empress is none other than Shakky. And so as it's revealed, Shakky, also known as Shakuyaku, was the empress from 2 generations ago. Now, we don't know very much about her past, but she still left Amazon Lily, giving up her position as captain and empress to become a pirate out on the seas. As we've seen with the 2 empresses we know, both Gloriosa and Hancock ended up being affected by love sickness, so the same could have easily happened to Shakky. She may have fallen in love with a pirate and then joined him to adventure around the world. Now, as many in the community may have guessed, this pirate of course has to be Rayleigh, as they have a great bond that's clearly visible to anybody who sees the 2 of them together, which makes one wonder, what might have happened during their relationship. Now, as the universe of One Piece has many different ideas and theories floating around, there has been one that said that Mihawk could have been the love child of Shakky and Rayleigh, and there's several reasons to believe this, and first would of course be the appearance of Mihawk. The greatest swordsman and our once dark king have many visual similarities. Mihawk has the same kind of hairline that Shakky has in her hair, besides her black hair as well. And Mihawk also has many similarities with Rayleigh, as in the different motifs in the prints that he has in his clothing are very similar to what Rayleigh used in the past, just really changing the colors. Mihawk and Rayleigh also have a very similar beard, and both use swords as their primary form of combat, which could mean that they might actually have some family connection. Although they really haven't met in person so far, so we don't know if they'd recognize each other or acknowledge each other. After a few years of sailing the vast sea, Shakky gave up the pirate life, and probably to take care of a son. And Mihawk was able to learn how to use the sword because of the help of his father Rayleigh, allowing him to rival Shanks in the future. At some point, she even seemed to have formed a partnership and may have even married Silver's Rayleigh, probably around the same time that she had Mihawk. In this way, they kinda seemed to want to have a normal life, watching their son grow up until he left alone in search of his own dreams. We don't know exactly when it occurred, but Shakky is responsible for saving the Gorgon sisters with the help of Rayleigh and Neon when they were younger. Because of that help, the sisters were able to escape the slavery they'd endured under the world nobles. We also don't have this confirmed, but it's also quite possible that Shakky may have actually abandoned the Amazon women because she ended up falling for Rayleigh's charms, so she had to look for a way not to lose her life to this love sickness. Now, over the centuries, empresses must have come in contact with men from the outside world, and some may have possibly fell victim to the disease of lovesickness and could have even lost their lives. Yet, Empress Gloriosa managed to circumvent this by seemingly leaving her homeland to follow her love, at least for a time. So one could imagine that as Gloriosa left the island, she may have lived in Sabadi Archipelago for some amount of time. And during this time, she may have actually befriended Silver's Rayleigh and Shakky. We don't know the exact time when Shakky became the leader of the Amazon women and subsequently abandoned them, but apparently on this visit, Gloriosa may not have recognized her as one of the Amazon women, or maybe just avoided commenting on the matter. However, by this point in the story, Shakky would have already abandoned her position as captain, and this would have given Gloriosa a place to go. For these actions, Shakky's own people consider her a traitor, but she's also learned many things about the outside world, including about men, something Amazon women maybe don't really have the time to do because there are no men present, so they might just consider it worthless. We saw a little bit of this when Luffy was arrested by the Amazon tribe. Now, Luffy is completely undressed, and as they then observed the anatomy of Luffy's body, it was something kind of from another world because they'd never really seen a man, and many of them, this was the only man they'd ever seen. But getting back to Gloriosa, Gloriosa also discovered Boa Hancock and her sisters, Sandersonia and Marigold, a trio of Kuja who had previously disappeared and had escaped from Marijois after 4 years of being imprisoned by the world nobles. Seeing these girls, who were her countrymen, Gloriosa adopted them immediately, kept them with her until she finally returned to Amazon Lily. And the moment she did, she was forgiven by the Empress who replaced her, but she was also kind of tainted by her abandonment and the fact that she had left the tribe. So because of possibly shame or maybe attitude from her countrywomen, Gloriosa chose to live on the outskirts of the Kuja village, where she wouldn't have to be bothered by the affairs of other people who ran the Kuja tribe, and kind of living in an isolated way away from the rest of the women on the island. This same very thing could have come to Shakky. However, after she left, she really didn't ever aim to return to Amazon Lily. She just preferred to go on with Rayleigh for her adventures in the world. But after discovering the world and meeting all kinds of people, they probably just tired of pirate life and decided to live a peaceful life in Sabadi Archipelago, away from the spotlights of the Marines and other pirates, and they were able to keep themselves kind of hidden away from the rest of the world. But based on the timing and the information and just the kind of strong similarity, this does give us hope that Mihawk may indeed be Rayleigh and Shakky's son, explaining even where Mihawk gained this great mastery of swords and just seemingly uncanny ability, even competing and holding his own against Shanks, allowing him to finally and eventually win the title of greatest swordsman in the world. Now, to be perfectly clear, we do absolutely acknowledge that this theory and idea has a lot of holes, because we don't know the exact dates when Shakky was the leader of the Kuja pirates, or when she left, or if her and Rayleigh even had a child. But as our story unfolds along the One Piece storyline, we could easily find out that Shakky became a pirate and when, especially through a flashback, and and we may even learn that she is Mihawk's real mother. Because now that the final events of One Piece are happening, we're gonna have lots and lots of info dumps. Just consider what we saw in this recent chapter of 1059. We learned so much information that had been kept hidden for a long time. After the 2-year time skip, we learned that there were new pacifistas that the SSG had created. However, it was only in this recent chapter where we saw them. These tiny robot children had Lunarian aspects like King, with black wings and fire on their back and white hair and dark skin, but they seemed to have the appearance of former Shishibukai, or warlords, as demonstrated by the first Seraphim, who carried a small sword that looked awful lot like Mihawk's, or even the Seraphim that appeared at the end of the chapter with the appearance of Boa Hancock. And it's in this same chapter that we got this crucial information that Shakky was the former leader of the Kuja pirates, something that many fans didn't even think was possible. But after all, Oda never really gave hints of this relationship of Shakky with the Amazon women. It was only in this chapter where we got the information where we knew she was one of them, and apparently had been a great ally, since no Amazon woman seemed to show outward resentment towards her in this chapter. So what we're hoping this means that in these next chapters, we're gonna get to see some interaction between Shakky and the Amazons, and maybe even reveal a bit more of her past and possible revelation of a child she might have had, allowing us to know a lot more about this possible person and if it really has a connection or is Hawkeye Mihawk. But with all that said, we'd love to know what you think about it. What do you think of this idea? And knowing that yes, there are some holes and some bits, do you think that Mihawk could be the offspring of Shakky and Rayleigh? Secondly, although we know how Gloriosa and possibly Shakky cured their lovesickness, how do you think Boa was able to defeat hers? We already know she's an amazingly strong woman and powerful character, so do you think maybe she just used her strength and kind of went through it? And lastly, since we know that Boa Hancock was really another focus of this recent chapter and her interaction with Blackbeard, why do you think he's after her power? What do you think is special? Because of course the animenomi is a absolutely devastating devil fruit, especially in the hands of someone like Boa Hancock. But why specifically do you think Teach was after that fruit? Let us know what you think in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video, I want to thank you all so much for watching the video all the way up to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like or hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. It's free after all. Hope to see you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.